Hi everyone, I'm Juan Pablo from Español and English Private Tutoring. Today I'm going to talk about the difference between por and para. So, por and para are kind of challenging for English speakers because sometimes it's kind of difficult to know which one is which, but hopefully this video will help you understand better. The general idea is that para, so I'm going to put it here, para and generally translates as for in English, into English, but not always. There are exceptions to that. Because it can also translate as in order to. Okay, so I'm going to have for here, but para here, and I'm going to connect it like this. Okay, so para can also translate into English as in order to, and in some cases as to as well. Okay. So I said that generally speaking, para can translate as for in English. It can also translate as to, but it will translate as to if to is a synonym of in order to. In order to. So in this way, it can translate as to. And the other way is in order to. So that's simple. Basically two ways. Work. The notes order to. So also if you're a student, you will receive this if this is something you're learning. If not, you can go to our website at espent.net. The description is in the video to learn more about how you can respond with us. So para can translate as in order to or for. But there are exceptions to these rules. So in order to always translates as para. So I'm going to give you an example in English. She works hard to make money. Okay. To make money. Yeah. In this case, to I can replace to with in order to. Example: she works hard in order to make money. Only in this instance, to can translate as para. Otherwise, to can have different translations in Spanish, which I'm not going to go into in this video because it will be too long. Also, this video will be divided into two parts. This video is around 25 minutes long, and this is the first part. But with for, there is an exception, as I said. I'm going to give you the most common way to use for and translate as para is like, for example, this is for you. This is for you, and I'm going to give you the example here. If I want to say this is for you, be esto es para usted. Usted. Oh, this is an example. Esto es para usted. This is for you. Now let's put here exceptions. Exceptions is in Spanish. Exceptions. This. Okay. Excepciones. So for will not translate as por, as para under the following conditions. It will not translate as para if it is used to express as, it will not translate as para if for precedes a quantity of time. If it is used for a quantity of time, then it will not translate as para, it will translate as for. So an example will be, I'm going to travel for several months. For several months. Several months is a quantity of time. For this reason, I cannot translate for as para. And I'm going to put it here. And, cuando por se refiere a una cantidad de tiempo, no traduce al español como para. Traduce como por. Cuando por se refiere a una cantidad de tiempo, no traduce al español como para. Traduce como por. Esta es una de las primeras excepciones. Hay más. There are more exceptions. So this says here, when for refers to a quantity of time, it doesn't translate as para in Spanish. It will translate as por. Here. Example. Then I'm going to give you an example here. I'm going to say she is going to Madrid for 2 years. See if I can find something good here. I'm going to travel. She's going to travel. Let's make it. She's going to. It's okay. She's going to Madrid. This is fine. For this, it will be. She's going to Madrid for 2 years. In Spanish, it will be. Ella se va para Madrid por 2 años. Ella se va para Madrid por 2 años. So notice here that two in this case, and this is something else that I'm going to explain, two in this case is translated as para. is not referring to in order. So this is another way I can translate to as para for those signs. Let's see. Ya se va para Madrid por los signs. So this is the one that is referring to time. So you say for, okay, for 2 years. In Spanish, we translate as por, not as para, because it's referring to a quantity. That's the first thing there. Okay, there are other exceptions to this rule, where for will translate as por. For example, he's going to vote for the best president, something simple, for the best president. To vote for, okay? To vote for is an exception. Even though he's using for, it translates as para in Spanish. I'm sorry, it translates as por in Spanish. So to vote for someone equals votar for. Another exception here is, I'm going to talk now about to here, translated as para in this case, which is not in order to. Where did I put it? So here, okay? This one too has an exception. So I'm going to put here exception. And the section is exactly the one that I gave you before. Let me see. She's going to Madrid. This is a good example. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. Like that. So you're like confused. So she's going to Madrid. In this case, to will not is not related to in order to. I cannot say she's going in order to Madrid. It will make sense in English. But still, I'm using to here and it's translating as para. So I'm going to translate this Spanish, which will be ella va para Madrid. Ella va para Madrid. Ella va para Madrid. So she's going to Madrid. So to, in this case, is a preposition in English that is indicating movement. So this preposition is normally used with verbs of movement, like the verb to go to a place. So if to is indicating movement, it can translate as para. Okay? If it is used with the verb of motion, it will translate para. Or it can also translate as, I'm going to put this. It can also translate as a. These two are exactly the same thing. Okay. She's going to Madrid. There are two ways to translate this. Ella va para Madrid. Ella va a Madrid. So the preposition a is also used to indicate movement. So both in this case, para and are synonyms. Another way that para, for, will not translate as para will be in the following example. Here, short exceptions. So, let's, for example, in English, we're going to give you an example. I'm going to my house for my mother, which means to pick up my mother. And then I'm going to my house for my mother. And this may be a direct translation from Spanish to English. This is something we say in English. I'm sorry, in Spanish. For my mother. I'm going to my house. My house for my mother. And if I translate this, it would be here. And we will translate this, it would be as follows. It would be voy a mi casa por mi madre. So in this case, for is not translating as for, this for here is not translating uh, I'm going for. So in this case, for is not translating as part, it's translating as for. Because in this case, I'm saying I'm going to pick up my mind. So when it comes to pick up something, in Spanish, you can say for. Okay, I'm going for this person. Okay, that's how we say in Spanish. That's not in Spanish. So we can say it like this. I'm going to my house. Voy a mi casa. Voy a mi casa por mi madre. This means in English, I'm going to my house to pick up my mother. So for, this is like how we say in Spanish. There's another way that por we can translate like that. I think everything else is there. Now I'm going to start explaining for, which is a little more complex. See if we can put it here. But for. Okay. So for has many expressions and many ways to use it. So this is going to take a little longer. So por can translate into English as through or by. So that's the first example here is as through or by. Or by. And I'm going to give you examples. El ladrón salió por la ventana anoche. El ladrón salió por la ventana anoche. No salió por la ventana anoche. This means the robber left through the window last night. Through, this case, por. Another example will be as by. We prefer to travel by plane. Okay. I'm going to give you the translation here. We prefer to travel by plane. Entonces, sería nosotros preferimos viajar por avión. prefer to travel by plane. Another thing, por can also translate into English as because of, on account of, for the sake of, or without of. Let's see if I can put it. So you can also translate because of, on account of, for the sake of, on, without of. Because of, on account of, for the sake of, without of. So examples. The plant is green because of the chlorophyll. It's called. Okay. I'm going to put it here in Spanish. La planta es verde por la clorofila. Planta es verde por la clorofila. One. Work on another example. Another example will be on account of. Well, because of and on account of are kind of similar. The plant, the plant is green on account of. It's kind of because of too. Maybe wrong, but can I think of anything related to on account of here? On account of the situation, on account of the situation that we are experiencing, we are going to be late tomorrow, right? Which is the same as because of the situation. So these two are synonyms, I would say in English. Correct me if I'm wrong. Leave the comments. Leave a comment if you want in the video. For the sake of, now for the sake of, there's this one. For the sake of, can have two translations into Spanish. It depends on how you use it in English. So for the sake of, I'm going to put it here because this one is kind of special. The sake of. So I'm going to give you an example in English. So she's working for the sake of making enough money to pay the rent. Okay. That will be an example in English. Let me check some notes here. Okay, I'm going to give you the translation of the sentence here, Spanish. So let's say if I want to say she works for the sake of making money. Let's keep it simple. Ella trabaja para hacer dinero. In this case, for the sake of will translate as para. Here. Will translate as para because for the sake of is a synonym of for the purpose of, with the objective of, in order to. Okay? So if for the sake of can be a synonym of any of those that I mentioned in order to, for example, then it will translate as para in Spanish. Here, so in order to and so on any synonym related to this, it will translate as para. In order to, ella trabaja para hacer dinero. But for the sake of, let me see, let me give you an example. So she works for the sake of working. She works for the sake of doing something. Yeah? In that case, there is no purpose. She's just working for no reason. Yeah? If that's the case, it will translate as por, not as para. Here, no, check. Oh, cool. So if there is no specific objective or goal, then it will translate as por. An example will be she worked for the sake of doing something. Ella trabaja por hacer algo. Okay. So let's end the video now. Part 2 will continue next. You want to learn Spanish, please go to our website, espeng.net, and see you in the next video. Have a good one.